Okay, so the BBC have decided to reinstate Gary Lineker. This follows a 5-day saga following on from his criticism of the government via Twitter. Now, I think the BBC overreacted, in my personal opinion, but I also understand why they did he stood him down. He wasn't technically fully suspended. It was the language they used was very vague, and it contributed to a very messy weekend for the broadcaster. All that has come out of this is he's reinstated to match of the day presenting duties, which means pundits and fellow presenters like Mark Chapman and Ian Wright go back to work. Gabby Logan and the rugby presenting team were praised and slated on social media yesterday during the Scotland-Ireland Six Nations match because they decided to go to work rather than stand down alongside their football colleagues. So it has divided opinion, both with viewers and on social media. Now, the BBC has been inconsistent in their impartiality clause, in my opinion. They've also been inconsistent in their disciplinary policies over many, many years. And I will use the sports journalist Dan Rowan as an example. Not that I'm a big fan of Dan Rowan, I don't like him at all. Remember the Leicester City helicopter crash? Remember that video I did on it? Which I believe is a crap video, by the way. I hate that video that I did on it. Most popular video on the channel, by the way. But my views on that incident haven't changed. I think he should be suspended, or should have been suspended and or sacked following an investigation. And the BBC didn't do either of them. And that was a far more serious incident, considering the language used and the piss poor apology that came afterwards, than what Gary Lineker did on Twitter. Now, Gary Lineker's been a bit of a wally. I think we can all agree that. But the BBC's reaction was overkill. But then they didn't really get it right. They were very vague in what was happening. Would there be match of the day? Would there be football focus? Would there be final score? Could they get a presenting team together? In the end, it's been 2 days of apologies from the BBC going, we apologise for your programme not going to air, or no presenting team. It's made the BBC look amateur hour when it comes to how they discipline their employees, and their freelance employees as well, so those who also, like Gary Lineker, who work for other broadcasters as well as a freelance journalist, how they deal with breaches of discipline, however minor, and his social media post was not that bad a breach of discipline, compared to what Dan Rowan did back in 2018, which is a completely far more serious situation, or what Frank Boff did in the late 80s and early 90s, getting caught with ladies of the night, prostitutes and drugs, and actual photographs and interviews given from people saying that he does this stuff, where that was over 30 years ago. But the inconsistency in how they discipline breaches of contract or pushing that line. We've got to look at Jeremy Clarkson. It was only when he punched a producer in the face they finally decided to part ways with him. He should have been suspended if we're going by social media and some of the things he posts on social media. Far more controversial than what Lineker posted. Far more controversial. And if they're going by that kind of policy, Clarkson would have been sacked a decade earlier than what he was. If we are going by how other broadcasters who are commercial have acted, maybe nothing happens at all. Or maybe they take similar action. It's so inconsistent. And that is, I think, what has damaged the BBC more, is their inconsistency, because a lot of the sports broadcasters were highly critical of the Qatar World Cup, going there, the bidding process, the building of the stadiums, how the workers were treated, the human rights. Gary Lineker, as well as others, in broadcast, were criticising the Qatar World Cup. No action was taken, because I think that was an editorial decision by the BBC and ITV, who also covered the World Cup in this country. Those were editorial decisions. Now, I say this, had he been working for ITV, I don't think anything happens. I don't think there's this 5-day saga of chaos. It's because it's the BBC and it's a publicly funded broadcaster. Commercial broadcaster, nothing happens. So we'll see what happens with their social media policy review, which I think they should be doing on an annual basis anyway. Why it's taken them this long to review their policies and update them is beyond me. And we'll see how the viewership ratings are for the live match of the day, FA Cup ties that are being broadcast this weekend. We'll see if they are up or down. Because match of the day at the weekend without a broadcasting team, viewership was up by 500,000 viewers extra tuned in. So we'll see if this impacts viewership figures for the live broadcast of the FA Cup this weekend. Him being back, the pundits being back. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's my view on things. I think no one comes out a winner, and we'll see what happens. So thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.